I hope that you guys have enjoyed the first two videos of our Preparing for Madden 24 mini-series. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down how to create your own defense. What are the things that you need to worry about when you start off a new year in Madden? How do you get those stops against the pass? How do you stop the run? How much should I blitz? We're going to cover it all. Let's get into it. Number one on the list is the most popular route every single year in Madden, and that is the corner route. If you don't know how to stop a corner route, you will not have a good year in Madden. You could go back as far as you want. Corner routes are meta. You'll see them out a bunch. Tight, rollout corners have traditionally been popular. People will run them out of spread sets. You have to understand that this is a core route of every offense, no matter whether you're playing a player who runs the meta or runs an off-meta offense. They are a big source of yardage for a lot of players, and you have to understand whatever defense you are calling how to stop corner routes. Whether you want to use a defense such as man coverage, it's really helpful if you use route cancellation abilities such as one step or inside shade for man coverage. Or match coverage, such as the box check out of match quarters. Of course, you'll need to know your rules. Or the funky rules that you don't know exist in zone coverage. We've got those for you over on Gridiron as well. You need a full understanding of what coverages do against corner routes. If you can lock these down, you will win far more games early and often. Now, before we get into number two on our list, if you guys could do me a favor, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, put a thumbs up below, and also drop a comment to help push this video out in the algorithm. And if you guys want to improve your Madden 24 game, make sure that you guys sign up for gridirongameplans.gg, your one-stop source for all things competitive Madden, keeping you on top of the most popular metas in the vault, with updates breaking down the metas and their counters, and all-inclusive access to not only our members-only Discord with live sessions, but all offensive and defensive game plans with updates all year long. Number two is going to be run defense, and we're going to do this live action here rather than cutting up some clips of things. I think this is really important to show. There are huge differences when you talk about what run defense is in Madden, and there are different types of run defense. Some of you are going to want to sit back in your coverages. After all, it was the first thing and the most important thing that I broke down just a moment ago. And if you're going to sit back in those coverages, you're going to need to understand what gap shoots are. Gap shoots are a way that you can stop some of the most popular runs by staying in a coverage. Let's say, for instance, we wanted to run cover 4 quarters here out of the big nickel over G. If I were to be in this defense just from a traditional standpoint, my opponent could run an 0-1 trap and be able to get up to that second or third level and pick up major yardage. However, a gap shoot is what occurs when you look at a particular play and you find the hole.
That's what she said.
For instance, the left guard on this run vacates, which opens the left A gap. If we go ahead and shoot through that gap, that allows us to hit the running back in the backfield. So if you're running a defense that is weak to a specific type of run, it's always important to go into practice mode and find where those holes are and learn how to gap shoot them. I'll show you another one real quick. Here's an example of a halfback base. This is a run that some players will call out of 3 wide receiver sets, following the pulling guard and getting up to the second level. You'll note here that, again, because of the pulling guard on the left, you're going to have a gap that you can shoot. So when they run it this time, we fly through that vacated hole and get the tackle for a loss. If you have a library of gap shoots in your arsenal, this allows you to stay coverage focused and rely on your user to be able to stop the most popular runs. Now, of course, the caveat to this is that you have to have formation recognition. You have to play the game a lot, and you have to understand that certain runs exist in certain formations. And you may even be able to eliminate certain types of run calls with your familiarity of the playbooks. For instance, if you know you're facing a specific playbook that has, say, for instance, the X nasty, but it doesn't have the stretch run in it, that is valuable. So getting to know your playbooks is really important. And the other type of run defense is what we call gap integrity or run fits. A lot of players don't know that when you run a defense, such as say cover 4, you can check the run fits by holding the left trigger and then tapping the X or square button, depending on what console you're on, to show your run fits to the left, and you'll hit B or circle to see them to the right. And you'll note that the players that have those lines are players that are run defenders. Players that don't have those particular lines will be in a spot where they are not going to respond to the run. Not only that, But again, being that this is a cover 4, this is the run fit for this defense, you may notice that other defenses, such as the cover 2, have different players in the run fit. Notice how we don't have the safeties in the run fit any longer. This is valuable because if you know who is responsible for playing the outside contain on a defense, say for instance the F defender here, if they are to run the ball at him, he is going to run down and set his edge and be that primary contain man that funnels everything back to the inside. Meanwhile, if you were to run this exact same run out of the cover 4 defense, you're going to see that potentially there is a spot where he could bounce outside if the man that isn't responsible for force is down there. In this case, he was, and you saw that the players that were at safety filled their gaps to be able to give you those run stops. A lot of players traditionally never check their run fits. They have no idea that they even exist, and they don't know that different coverages have different run fits. This is key for helping you stop the run in every single Madden, and it's a reason that I am a proficient defensive player every single year. Understanding that different coverages have different run assignments, and if you can utilize players in the correct roles, will give you better success. While everyone complains why their dollar from Madden 23 couldn't stop the run consistently. The next element that every defense needs in Madden is the threat of a blitz. A lot of players think that if you're a blitzer, you need to blitz all the time. The truth is, blitzing isn't the important part. It's having a blitz and knowing when you should use it versus when you should save it that wins and loses games. Let me give you an example. Let's say you start a game off and you decide, I've got this blitz. I know my opponent is in this offense that I could blitz out of, and I want to show this right now. Is showing that blitz early on in the game more valuable than holding on to it and baiting your opponent because you've learned all the coverage things that we talked about in our first bullet point into sending everyone out on routes? I will argue until I am blue in the face that so many players would be so much better off if they would blitz less and play more coverage. Because not only are they going to learn more about how to get stops with purely coverage adjustments in the game, but they're also going to open up the opportunity to pick and choose their moments to blitz. Let me give you an example of something nobody even really ran this year in Madden, and how this is valuable for pretty much anybody that runs a 4 down lineman defense. We all know nickel over if you pinched was one of the best blitzes in the game, but a lot of players said it was impossible to blitz out of the big nickel over G. Let me give you an example of a look that I would frequently give when I play against an alignment like this. In this example, I've got the defensive line not pinched. I've got the linebackers just chilling in the gaps. Doesn't really look like anything. And the truth is, we're running a standard Tampa 3. And our opponent on 1 down may go ahead and snap the ball. We play our coverage. They throw it out to the flat. They take a few yards, whatever. But we know at this point that if we provide them this look, they'll go 5 out. And later on in the game, we decide it's time to blitz. So we show the same coverage look. Or do we? So again, defensive line is spread out, looks pretty inconspicuous. Your opponent says, well, I had an open check down last time. Let's go ahead and set him out again. Well, this time you see that we're bringing pressure. It's not about having something that scares your opponent. It's about having something period and knowing when to use it. If you're to compare that to, say, the mid-blitz meta or the Overstorm Brave meta or the dollar spinner meta of Madden 23, and being in a spot where we just show that look every single time, you're going to scare your opponents into blocking their running back. And some good players know how to block the blitz. So they're just going to get into the habit of setting up their blitz pickup formula pretty consistently. We talked yesterday about how no matter what offense you run, you need to have a blitz pickup formula to protect your quarterback. Good players know how to block the blitz. So it's about knowing when to send it and doing it from finesse style looks that to me is more valuable than just showing a scary blitz front over and over. Now, I will say this, there still is value in testing, especially early on in a game, if your opponent can stop a blitz meta, such say dollar or 6-1, or any of those particular blitzes that I listed off, like mid blitz. Some of those more aggressive style blitz metas are something that you could call early in a game and get your opponent to kind of show you whether or not they're good at stopping it. If they can't stop it, keep sending it. If they can stop it, fall back into the defensive blitz approach that I just broke down here in our last bullet point. So there you guys have it. This is quite literally the foundation for playing better defense in Madden. Know how to stop the most popular route in the game. It's always a corner. Understand the difference between gap integrity and gap shoots in your run game. And know when to send your blitz. It's not just running a meta blitz, it's actually sending it at the right moment, or baiting your opponent, or lying in wait for them to go 5 out, making your job easier. And that's when you're gonna win on those money downs. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. If you guys want more, head over to my strategy website, gridirongameplans.gg. I've got so much content on there. We honestly are going to be uploading all year long. So if you guys are watching this later on in the season, there's a ton of content on there probably already, depending on when you're watching it. We're going to be hitting the ground running. As soon as the game drops, we're going to be hitting the vault with a lot of content. So I hope that you guys will join me over there on the website. If you guys are watching this before the game drops, we still have our pre-sale up until the day the game comes out. So take advantage of that. $75 for the entire year. We will see you guys right back here tomorrow with our next video upload. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.